What do you do when the storm hits? When everything is out of control and everyone is looking to you for answers? How do you respond? I'm Chris Moore, and this is Lead in 10, where we connect biblical principles to practical leadership in under 10 minutes. Imagine this. Jesus and the disciples are on a boat. A storm hits. Matter of fact, where I'm recording right now, there's a storm outside, so don't know if you can hear it or not, but thunder's getting pretty loud. It's not just a sprinkle. It's a life-threatening storm that Jesus and the disciples are in. Waves are crashing over the edge of the boat, and the disciples, who were all experienced fishermen, they're terrified. Had to be a pretty bad storm. Meanwhile, Jesus, he's asleep. Asleep. The disciples, they go and wake him up, shouting, "Master, don't you care that we're about to die?" And Jesus gets up and he rebukes the wind and the waves, and everything goes still. Then he asks, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Mark chapter 4, verse 39 says, "And he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm." When the storm hits, leaders have a choice. We can panic, or we can look for peace. Jesus shows us the power of staying calm under pressure. He didn't ignore the storm. He doesn't pretend it isn't happening, but he doesn't let the storm dictate how he responds. Instead, he takes control. For leaders, the lesson is clear. When chaos erupts around, your team is going to be looking to you. If you are frantic, if you are panicked, they're going to be frantic. They're going to be panicked. If you're calm, they'll find calm, and the calm starts with you. Picture a business leader in the middle of a crisis. A major client maybe pulls out. A key employee that knows all the secrets and knows how everything works, they quit. Revenue is down 30%. The team is on edge. They know that things are bad. Everyone is waiting to see how you, the leader, will respond. In that moment, you have two choices: react with fear or respond with faith. Instead of focusing on what's going wrong, they can focus on what's still in their control. They can remind the team of past wins, reinforce the mission, set a steady course of how we're going to move forward. That's what Jesus did in the storm. He acknowledged the fear, but redirected their focus. Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? It wasn't a rebuke as much as it was a reminder to trust even when the storm is raging. This lesson, I think, is something that the disciples needed because he knew what was coming, the storms they would face on their own. And this was a moment in the middle of chaos, in the middle of fear, that he could teach. Think about why the disciples are so afraid. They were fishermen. They had seen storms before. They probably had friends and relatives who had died in that same area because of a bad storm. But this one was different. This storm that they were used to seeing, perhaps being in a storm on a boat, this one was different. This one, they knew they couldn't control. And that's often what fear is, the feeling that we're no longer in control. I can imagine the disciples at some point in the storm were probably doing everything that they knew how to do, things they had done before, and they didn't feel like it was working. But as leaders, we're not called to control the storm. Honestly, none of us can speak to the sea and have it be calm. But what we are called to do is for us to remain calm. God doesn't tell the disciples in that moment for them to rebuke the storm, but he wonders why they don't have faith, why they weren't calm. We're called to remain calm, keep our faith intact. That's what Jesus modeled. Today, I want you to identify one area in your leadership where you feel like there's a storm raging. And I know there may be more than one, but there's one that will probably pop first in your mind. That's the one I want you to look at. Maybe it's a financial setback. Maybe it's a difficult employee or team member that you're having issues with. Maybe there's a project that needs to move forward, but everything seems to be against it. Take a moment to pause, breathe, and pray. Ask God for clarity to see the situation clearly and the strength to stay calm in the storm. And then speak calm to your team. Reassure them. Show them that while the storm may rage, you're still holding on to the wheel. That confidence will begin to ripple through your team. Before the next devotional, before tomorrow, take 10 minutes and reflect on a recent storm you faced as a leader. How did you respond? Reflection can teach us so much about ourselves, help us improve. What could you have done differently to bring calm instead of chaos? And then I want you to write it down. Writing it down makes it even more real, and pray over it. Ask God to help you respond with faith the next time the storm hits. If today's devotional brought you some peace in the midst of your storm, share it with someone who might need it. We need to find the calm in the storm. And remember that leadership is not about controlling the storm. They're going to be there. They're going to continue to come. But it is about remaining calm and keeping your faith intact. Thanks for joining me on Lead in 10. Until next time, stay strong, stay calm, and lead well. I'll see you next time.